Welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today, very excited to be moving into the finale for the Isofarian Guard from Sky Kingdom Games. Now, as of the release of this video, it is currently on crowdfunding on GameFound, so if you want to find out more information about the campaign beyond the showcase I put together, you'll find links to that campaign in the pinned comment, video description, as well as a link on screen in just a moment. Now, I want to talk about the high level of what we've accomplished so far. We've already gone through a setup, we talked about campaign information, we went through the entirety of chapter number 1, and we are a good chunk through chapter number 2. We're going to pick things up exactly where we left it off in the last video, where we took down some guards. We're going to continue the story. The newest narrative point we have is over here in Myr, and that's where we're headed in the very, very near future. Now, our individual heroes, our guards, have been hit and beat up a little bit, so we're going to be focusing on trying to heal them up, while they also try and traverse across the land to get to that narrative chip. Now, we've also got the opportunity to explore beyond this. I'm going the most efficient route through the story to show you guys more of the story. But remember, as you explore the world of Isofar, you do not have to drive towards any narrative chips that happen to get planted. Just like a game of Skyrim, the video game, even though you have a main quest that you can follow, you are free to go off and check out other nodes, run into other enemies, have other adventures. And that actually is going to lead me into another thing I want to talk about, which I didn't cover in the prior video, and that is the field event cards. We're going to talk about those almost right away. Now, I'll touch on the field event cards when we actually get to a situation where we can trigger one of them, but at the moment, being that we're in the exploration phase, I want to look at the skill tree and mention to you guys that we are in chapter number 2, and you can see the Lux requirement has gone up to 25 to increase anything on Grigory's skill tree, for example, and the same pertains to Alec as well. So we have 20 Lux, which is exciting, because in chapter number 1, that would have allowed us to actually get upgrades for both of our characters, or maybe one character get 2 upgrades. But in this case, we don't have enough for even 1. So we're still going to be accumulating Lux and then coming back here potentially in the future to upgrade some more. Now, taking a look at the land that we're traversing through right now, our current party is on 83, and we are trying to get up into Myr here, which is actually not that far away at all. We're going to go through one node if we want to go directly there. Of course, we could take long ways around if we wanted to, in order to interact with different things and different nodes. But if we go straight there, we're going to jump into this Golden Gate area, and then the narrative chip is inside the city. So without further ado, let's go ahead and head to this node 84. We'll now go ahead and shuffle up the bag here, and we're going to see what we get in terms of an event chip. We got ourselves a compass, and this actually does trigger the field event card. We can choose to resolve one at this point, and I'll explain why. So we moved to a yellow node. We also drew from the event bag, and we got ourselves a compass. The second we get the compass, we take a look for the corresponding field event deck based on the node number that we're on, and that's going to be, in this case, the red field event deck on the far right. But in this case, we won't be placing a purple cube as we normally would because there already are 3 on there from the prior video and all the moving and traveling that we did. Now, the actual resolving of an event card is a choice. You don't have to do it, but there are far more benefits to actually resolving this and there are negatives. So it's in your best interest to most likely resolve these when you actually accumulate the cubes on them. So in this case, we can go ahead, wipe those 3 cubes away and resolve that one on the right. The event we're resolving is called A Game of Chance. It states, a seer zealot approaches. She holds up a small bag. Take 3 stones, she insists. If they're the same color, I'll pay you 30 sil. Let us see if you have earned Yu's favor or his wrath. Draw 3 chips from one of the guard's bags. Choose a path. As I can choose any guard, I'm choosing Grigory, and he's going to go ahead and pull 3 chips out of his bag. We'll go ahead and shake them up, draw them one at a time. First one out is a black, second one out, another black, and the third is a black. Because we got 3 black, same color, we go down path number 1 as chosen, and it states the zealot smiles. He is all too happy to hand over the coins, just as promised. So we get 30 sil. We only have 20 at the moment for the party, so an extra 30 sounds really good. That'll certainly come in handy in the future. At this point, we're only 1 node away from Myr, so let's go ahead and head into the city. We enter through the Golden Gate at node 74. We'll place our bust chips for our guards on the minimap. And as you've seen in past videos, when you enter a town, a number of green nodes present themselves and you can interact with them either to purchase things, craft things, interact with different elements of the story, and further that story as you move along. You've got all kinds of cool things. So Blacksmith is in here, the Market Square is in here. Those are 2 of the ones that I'm eyeing for right now. I think what we'll do is we'll head to the market first. So looking in the index book for the specific city town that we're inside of, we've got a number of things we could potentially pick up from the market if we're interested. As we continue to explore into different green nodes, you'll see sometimes some icons. This one here has a campfire symbol next to it, which tells you that that location is an inn where you can pay sil in order to stay, to rest, to get your party back up to speed. So at a cost of 15 sil, which I'll be dropping us down to 35, we're going to do some resting here. Alec is going to go from 12 to 20. So the party has paid the 15 sil to rest, and there's more to the inn than just resting and bringing up your health for both of your guards in this case. Now, again, remember, you have the option to go to the marketplace and pick up health potions. You can do that. You'll weigh those decisions based on cost, but I want to talk about what else the inn provides when you pay the sil, as I've just done. Something else that happens beyond resting, and your bags will remain the same in terms of the chips inside of them, is now a save point. So you're going to take a save chip, and that's going to go on this location. So you'll end up using a campfire chip to represent the fact that you have saved at this particular location because you chose to pay the sil and stay at the inn. So once you have your campfire chip in place, the next thing you're going to do is record the location of that campfire chip in your save index. You're doing this manually using the books that are provided in this first printing of the game, but in the reprint and future implementation of the campaign tracker in Rule Pop, you'll be able to do it there as well digitally. So whichever way you want to go, you'll have that option. Now, something else about the save, when you do decide to save, why would you want to do so as part of resting and staying in an inn? Well, because if you're defeated in battle, the guards always reset back to their most recent save point, which is where the campfire chip resides. Unless, of course, you don't have one, then it's back to Fort Istra for you in the courtyard, and that's basically going to give you a point to come back to when things go south. The final thing I want to mention around inns is the side quests. There are bounty quests at inns, and you'll see them right on the page in the index book for the particular town or city that you're in, and you'll be able to see the individuals to go after, what the type of rewards will be. You can go after these bounties if you wish. They can be really beneficial. Next up, I've chosen to head over to the blacksmith node, which has a number of different weapons and equipment I can potentially create. And actually what I'm looking at that I can create right now, knowing what Grigory currently has on him at the moment. Again, you have to have your materials on your particular party in order to craft these things. We have traveling boots here, which have a really cool effect. It says, during the exploration phase, you may mulligan once per node. So as you're moving through, based on the event chip that you pull out, you can mulligan it and draw again. This can be very handy if you're attempting to avoid, well, enemies, or maybe stronger enemies. You'd rather not get the 3 skull, you'd rather get the 2 skull or the 1 skull. This can really help you in that regard. So that might be something we should actually go ahead and craft. Now, as you can see, there are a number of things at this blacksmith we could focus on. We could craft things like new armor. We already have guard's tunic, but you can go up to heavier sets of armor, which start to boost up your defenses to higher levels. You're obviously going to need more materials and very varying types of materials to pull that off. And then of course, the ones you saw moments ago, we're going to focus on creating these traveling boots. I'm going to do it. So if we want to go ahead and craft the traveling boots, which are right here, we need 1 iron ore and we need 2 rough leather. We have 4 rough leather on Grigory and 2 iron ore. We'll drop this to 2, this to 1, and we pay the 8 sil, and we're on our way. And just like that, we've paid the resources, we paid the sil, we've crafted the boots, and Grigory is now wearing them in the slot in the bottom left. We spent a little bit of time inside the town. Let's go ahead and move towards the narrative chip in town at the Duma Hall.
The guilds are suffocating this town.
Felix, the mayor of Mir, is barely visible behind the stack of papers piled up on his desk. He dips his pen in a bottle of ink and signs the letter he's just finished writing before folding it up and handing it off to a messenger.
They make life impossible for anyone unaffiliated with them, and now their contempt for each other has spilled over into violence. I sent word to the king months ago with no reply, and the Circle of Seers can't be bothered to intervene in anything that doesn't directly concern them, so I'm forced to slap together a militia from whatever scraps I can find lying around town.
Felix peers around a stack of papers and looks at you for the first time.
I suppose that's why you're here?
Not exactly. We heard about your broken plow problem from the Golden Scythe.
The Golden Scythe? They're part of the problem! True, they haven't turned to physical violence yet, but if you ask me, charging 2 or 3 times the market value for grain is a violence of its own.
We're not here to get involved in the politics. But if the broken plow has become dangerous, we'd like to offer our services.
Felix is quiet. After a moment, he gets up and sits on the front of the desk, facing you and Alec.
Why are you doing this, Grigory?
Felix smiles as he registers your shock.
Yes, I know who you are. And you must be Alec.
How do you know us?
Oh, Captain Akev is pretty mad at you. He's probably sent a letter out to every city, village, and hamlet in Isofar.
We've never hidden our identities from you.
No, but it makes me wonder why 2 exiled guards are getting mixed up in the affairs of our humble farming community.
You suddenly realize Felix is much smarter than you originally gave him credit for. You share an uneasy look with Alec and wonder what else Felix knows and what his angle is. It's probably not the best time to sell him on the Stonebound cause, so you decide to keep it general.
We are simply doing the next right thing.
Well, I can't force you to tell me your business, but don't expect me to believe you're just a couple of wandering paragons, just trying to make the world a better place.
Felix begins pacing the room, speaking almost to himself.
Fortunately for you, I don't really care what you're up to as long as our goals align. I have a problem that requires soldiers, and since the king won't send me any, you'll have to do.
How could we best help Mir?
Isn't it obvious? I need you to arrest Valen. He's been a pain in my side for far too long, but I could never touch him. Now that he's crossed a legal line, I finally have the authority to end him and the guild.
I assume arresting him won't be easy. Seems like Valen's not the type of fellow to come along nicely when asked.
No, you will undoubtedly have to use force. I'll be sending the militia with you to assist with any, unpleasantness.
There is an uncomfortable silence as you wait for Felix to lay out the details of his plan. But he has already gone back to writing at his desk. You clear your throat, and Felix looks up sharply.
You're still here?
Yes. We need the details. Where is the militia? Where's the broken plow estate? What's the timeline?
Arvid! Can you come in here?
The door opens, and a thin man enters, wearing a makeshift tabard and carrying a well-worn sickle.
You called, Felix?
Yes. This is Grigory and Alec. They're going to help you arrest Valen. You can explain everything else to them on the way out. Good day.
Very good, sir. If you'll follow me, then.
As you follow Arvid out the door, you start to say goodbye to Felix, but he is already lost in his paperwork.
The campaign book now instructs us to place the narrative chip on node 67, which is just outside the town we're in. So now that we know where to head next, I'm going to go ahead and head to the market square inside the town in order to purchase some of those potions in order to load up my characters for any future battles they might run into. So our party picked up the 4 potions available at the market. We have 3 with Alec and we have 1 with Gregory. This costs 20 sil, so we've dropped ourselves from 27 down to 7. So we now head back to the world map. We have our save chip reminding us that this is our save point. We also have the narrative chip, which happens to be just 1 node away from where we're coming out of the city. We're leaving at 70 in the top right-hand corner of the city, and we'll be heading out. So we're going to make 1 move during the exploration phase to get to that narrative event.
The clay horn huffs as it struggles to pull the jail cart up a particularly steep incline in the road. Arvid clicks his tongue, and the beast comes to a stop at the top of the hill. The rest of the militia are whispering amongst themselves, all too aware of the danger they are walking into. Arvid hops down from the cart and pushes his way through the crowd to reach you and Grigory.
Grigory, sir. We're about to reach the manor, and me and the others were wondering exactly what you want us to do.
Grigory looks over the militia, an assortment of townsfolk and farmers of dubious martial skill, before addressing them.
You are craftsmen and farmers, but today you are called on to be soldiers. I expect there will be resistance when we try to arrest Valen. The guards we face will be trained, but we outnumber them. As long as we stay together, we can overcome even the best soldier.
And do your best to look menacing. Look at it from their point of view. If an angry mob showed up at your front door, wouldn't you be scared?
Maybe we could light some torches?
Who was that?
Me, sir. Mallory.
Mallory. Excellent suggestion. Arvid, hand out the torches. If we look menacing enough, we may not have to fight at all.
A short while later, you and the mere militia are standing before the manor, torches blazing in hand. There is no sign of life anywhere on the property, and the doors and windows of the house are shut up tight. As you close in on the front door, you are startled by a flock of birds lifting off from the roof of the house and flapping away towards the east.
Look, messenger birds.
Arvid says, pointing out the tubes attached to each of the bird's legs.
He may have sent for help.
Whatever help he hopes for will be too late,
replies Grigory, stepping forward and pounding the door with the pommel of his sword.
Valen, come out! You are to be placed under arrest for crimes committed against your fellow countrymen!
At first, there is no reply. But then the door opens, and a single soldier steps out, hands held before him.
We don't want to fight, but Valen has locked himself inside with some of his fanatics.
How many are in there?
Just 6 of us. We'll come peacefully, but I can't speak for Valen.
Okay. You 6 come out empty-handed, and I promise you'll be treated fairly.
One by one, the soldiers exit the house, and the militia loads them into the jail cart under Arvid's watchful eye. That done, Grigory gathers everyone together.
Excellent work. Now comes the dangerous part. Valen has nothing to lose, and he won't be thinking clearly. Alec and I will go in and take Valen. 3 of you can guard the prisoners, while the rest of you split up and watch the doors. Be ready if anyone tries to make a run for it.
We've got your back, Captain. Go get that tyrant.
Inside the manor, you follow Grigory up to the 2nd floor and down a long hallway.
You sure we couldn't use some backup, Captain? Seems like a waste to not use all those people out there.
In this confined space, they're more likely to be a liability than a help. For all their bravery, they're still untrained.
Good point, I guess. Still, wish we didn't have to do this alone.
All right, focus. Valen should be in this room.
Grigory approaches the final set of doors in the hallway and tries the handles. To your surprise, the doors push open. Inside, Valen sits at a table filled with all manner of food. He is flanked by 2 soldiers, weapons in hand.
You're disturbing my dinner,
Valen says, dabbing the corners of his mouth with a napkin.
You sit here and stuff your face while your men are being rounded up. You will answer for the pain you've caused. People will starve this winter because of the crops you burned. And what kind of monster uses poison against innocent civilians? You're a murderer!
Enough!
Valen growls, rising from his seat.
You dare enter my home and sling accusations. Where's the proof of my supposed crimes?
So you're innocent?
Grigory challenges, taking a step forward.
Grigory, no one in this world is innocent.
Valen smiles.
I can tell you that I would never stoop to poison. You can kill me here and now and it will change nothing. Word has already been sent to Captain Akev of your whereabouts. It won't be long before he marches on Mir and crushes whatever it is you're hoping to accomplish there.
How does he know all this? Were we being watched the whole time?
Valen scoffs, hefting an enormous axe from beneath the table.
If I were you, I wouldn't worry about it. You're not going to leave this room alive.
As we just found out, a battle is beginning, so thank goodness we picked up those health potions when we did. They might come in handy depending on how this battle goes. It states in the campaign book to unwrap the Campaign 1 bosses deck at this point. So this will be the first time you're opening that one up, that pack of cards, and you're going to have corresponding separators you use in the index box to keep things organized. Then we're going to go ahead and actually set up the battle. We're going to have two-star Broken Plow soldiers coming out. So that's right, we're going to have enemy slot 1 and slot 2 dashboards with the Broken Plow soldiers, and then on top of that we'll have an enemy slot 3, the first time we've had 3 enemies, but that third enemy is not going to be a regular one, it's going to be the boss Valen. For those individuals that are unsure which sealed pack that I'm opening up, it'll look like this when you're digging through your standard size cards. It'll have a card on the front that says Campaign 1 Bosses. It also has the exact same thing on the back. You'll open it up and you'll be going ahead and organizing these. And just like that, I've set up for our boss battle against Valen. We have Grigory here on the left-hand side all ready to go. We have Alec on the right-hand side ready to go. Through the center, we have our enemies across 3 enemy dashboards, slots 1, 2, and 3. We have slots 1 and 2 with a Broken Plow soldier inside, a 2-star individual. You'll see these cards more close up as we get into battle. I'll quickly mention the stats though. We have 12 health. Once you get to 11 health or higher, you have to start using 2 red cubes to denote the health as it's split up, because these start increasing by 10 at a time. So for 12, it's a 10 and a 2. And of course, we just start subtracting things as we normally would and track things health-wise in that fashion. Next up, we have the attack values. We have 3 attack for these individuals and 2 defense. You'll also notice, unlike most of the enemies we fought so far, these ones come in with 3 AP, so a little bit more out of the gates, which is a little bit more terrifying. And then down below here, we have our boss Valen. We know it's a boss because it has the purple icon on the top left, the AI deck specific to Valen. And then down here, he's got 20 health, 4 attack, and 3 defense, and also has 3 AP. So are the odds against us? Most likely, but I think we might have a small sliver of a chance. So let's go ahead and see if we can pull off a victory, or whether these enemies are going to send us back to that save point that we did moments ago. The players get to go first. It's not an ambush, so Alec is going to be the first one to go. Also, each of the gems for the speaking stones for both of my guards are in the ready slot at this point. Without further ado, let's go ahead and draw some chips out of the bag based on the AP we have for Alec, which starts at 2. So Alec, based on his 2 AP, is looking to draw up until he gets 2 black chips. His first one that came out was a black, then a purple, and then another black, stopping the draw with 3. I'll start by having Alec try and boost Grigory up. We're going to go ahead and spend an AP as I've already done. Place the shield chip here in order to trigger the combine. It tells us we can trigger an empower effective 1 card. So one of these empower keywords at the bottom we can choose to have. Or if we have 2 active potions, meaning we have chips on those potions, 2 of them, then we can flip 1 non-active potion to the opposite side. So basically if we had a chip here and a chip here and we activated this, we could choose to go ahead and flip the one we didn't activate over to the opposite side. That's how you can start to see what the other side or secondary side of these potions can do. So in this case, we're triggering the effective 1 card. That's what I prefer to do here. We're going to do this in power 1 here. It says ally gains 1 green AP. I'm now going to go ahead and activate the elixir. This is going to cost us a chip that has a shield on it, which I have here. We've already paid the 1 AP. It says we can add a sword and a shield to either Alec's bag or an ally's bag. Now at this point I have no more AP left, but I do still have a chip, so I could go ahead and actually activate the iron short sword. The problem with that is that my default attack for Alec is not very strong against these types of enemies at the moment, at least. With a default attack value of 2 with that short sword, the defenses of the enemy, no matter which one I choose, is going to null that completely out. The only way I'm going to be able to get an Alec attack through is to have Grigory try and reduce the defense of one of the enemies, which we'll try and accomplish later on, but it might be more of a supportive role for Alec in this battle. However, it is worth noting that Alec does have a speaking stone down here, which he can attack an enemy for +1 attack, meaning he can actually get an attack 3 against one of the enemies, which some of them have defenses of 2. Those would be the soldiers, so he can actually do some damage there, and it says he can attack any enemy, and it also gives him a +1 on defense. So we'll go ahead and activate that. We're going to choose one of the enemies. I'll take the slot 1 soldier, and we'll knock them down by 1 damage. The soldier in slot 1 is going to lose a health, so we're going from 12 down to 11, and because Alec attacked an enemy, he gets the aggro chip, which will go right on his board. We now start Grigory's turn, and he's going to pull until he gets 3 black chips. He got 3 black chips in a row. I'm going to start things off with a guard here. We spent 1 AP. It tells us while active we have +1 defense, and we add a shield chip to Grigory's bag. Next up, we're going to activate the advanced one here. We spent an AP, placed a chip, and it says to add 1 sword chip to Grigory's bag, and because we're chaining it, because we've already activated another chained ability card, we get another sword in the bag. So not bad overall. 2 more green sword chips into the bag, so we're really building out Grigory's bag, which is really what he's all about. It's really about getting him bolstered up so he can do some big time attacks. We still have this left with 1 AP, and I'm tempted to do this, but I don't have enough to be able to pull it off, and I'm actually kind of waiting for the right moment for this. I'd rather have these cards flip over towards the end of this round, because it will allow me to utilize the fact we can actually reduce the defense of the enemies and use these cards to do some more damage than normal on the next turn. We also didn't pull any greens from this bag, so this isn't going to be a larger turn. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and use this sword anyway for something different. We'll go ahead and use his Volk Blade, which is up here. That will activate this thing. It's going to do an attack value of 4, which is great already. Let's pick our target. We'll continue to keep striking the top soldier here. So defense of 2 means 2 coming off this. If we're at 11, we're going to 9. So we'll go ahead now at this point and just bring it down to 1 red token to denote health. And Grigory also has a speaking stone. We'll go ahead and use this. We'll activate it. It says attack all enemies for +1. So on top of the 4, he gets an extra 1, which is 5. And each one of these will be taking damage. Now, these individuals have 2 defense, so they'll be taking 3 damage each. Whereas the boss here has 3 defense, will only take 2 damage. So to sum up, after that big time cross-slash attack, we've got 8 health left on this soldier. The second slot soldier has 9, and we have down here at the boss, it took 2 damage, so from 20 down to 18. And based on that attack hitting enemies, Grigory is now going to get the aggro chip, and also we've gone ahead and refreshed the AP for both of the guards. At this point, it's time to go ahead and start activating the enemies. We start in slot number 1. Let's see what the AI card has for us. This one tells us to choose target all enemies. It's going to attack the target using a swirling barrage. So it's going to use 2 AP to pull this off. It's a +2 on top of the 3 it already has, which is 5. A 5 damage attack going to both guards is going to be easy to figure out. We take 5, we minus it by the defense value stat for Grigory, which is 2, but he has 1 activated extra from his guard down here, which is just the left off screen that we activated in his turn. So he's got a +1 on top of the 2 stat he has up here. So he's got 3, which means 2 damage is getting through. So boom, he's dropping down to 18. Whereas Alec does not have as much defense by default as Grigory does. He's only got 1, but he did get the +1 from the speaking stone. So he's got 2 defense, so 3 damage going through to Alec, dropping him down to 17. And we're still not out of the woods just yet. Taking a look at the next thing on the card, it says choose target. It's going to be the one with the lowest health. In this case, that is going to be Alec at this point, or it would next be the aggro token if we can't figure out by lowest health, but we know it's Alec in this case. We're going to the attack target. It can do an axe throw. This is where having additional AP is really painful. Another 5 attack coming at Alec. Poor Alec is having a rough go off the start, so this is going to be another 3 damage going through. The speaking stone specifically states he has that +1 defense. So +1 on top of the 1 by default is 2, 5 minus 2, 3. So we're dropping from 17 down to 14. He's taken some substantial hits. It's a good thing that I went ahead and built him up with health potions, because I had a thought after a couple prior battles that this was going to become a problem for Alec, keeping him healthy. So having him have those potions on his turn, he's able to use them to kind of bring his health back up in an aggressive manner. All right, we move right along to the next soldier in line. Same soldier, maybe a different AI card. We'll see what happens. We got ourselves choosing the target based on the highest defense. Well, the highest defense is going to be Grigory. That's kind of relieving that he's going to take this one. And it's going to be a direct assault for 2 AP. It's going to be a +3 on it. Yikes. So it's going to be a standard attack at 3 +3 on top of it. That is 6. 6 damage going against my 2 defense, +1 from the guard being active is 3 damage getting through, so we're going from 18 down to 15. These soldiers are brutal. We really need to thin these guys out. If I can get rid of these soldiers, hence why I've been focusing on this slot 1, to try to get rid of it, we can try to get rid of these attacks because we still have a boss to deal with. And for the moment, we're lucky, as the next thing cannot happen. It cannot do the poison bomb thanks to it not having 2 AP, so that's going to run through the AI card to the end. Let's find out what the boss is doing next. Now we're on to activating Valen, the boss of this battle. We're going to go ahead and reveal the very top card. First time you're seeing one of these AI cards from the boss in this playthrough. We got a card that states, choose target all allies. So Valen's going to target his own allies. It says, you deal with it. He's going to expend some AP here, but then he's giving green AP to his allies. So additional AP is not something I like to see. Both of the soldiers now have an additional green AP for the rest of the battle. Not good. Then he's going to go ahead and target himself. I've already spent 1 AP for this, which is the Clayhorn meat. He's going to heal up 3, which he goes to his max, bringing him back up to 20, which is really unfortunate, from 18. And then he's going to go ahead and gain on the attack, so he's going to jump up to 5. So that's going to do it for Valen's turn, and it was a perfect card for the boss to get, not only bringing his health back up, but making him way more powerful when he attacks now, which I'm not a fan of. At this point, all the enemies are now done their activations, so we go ahead and refresh the AP. You'll also see the green AP that Valen was able to provide to the soldiers, which I'm not looking forward to future AI cards utilizing those. Now we're moving to the cleanup phase. That'll do it for the cleanup phase. We now head into a brand new game round. We get to choose which hero is going to activate first. We'll start off with Alec here. We're drawing 2 chips until we see 2 black chips. We fulfilled the draw. First one of the bag is a black shield chip. Next up, we have a green health chip. That'll be nice. And then finally, the last chip in the bag is a black sword. That fulfills the draw. I'm going to start off by using the elixir. This time, instead of putting it in Grigory's bag, I'm actually going to put it in Alec's bag. So we're going to go ahead and spend an AP. This will put a sword and a shield into his bag. The last thing I'll do is use my final AP and this chip right here in order to use the Crimson Tonic. This will allow me to place a health chip in either Alec's or Grigory's bag. I'm going to choose Grigory in this case. That'll do it for Alec's turn. We're going over to Grigory now. We're going to draw up some chips, and we're looking at 3 black chips before the draw is complete. There's a lot of green in this bag, so this could be a long draw. We'll see how it goes. We got a sword black chip. We have a green sword. We have another green sword. We have a green shield. Wow, this is going to be a huge, huge turn. 2 black chips in the pile now. That's a double sword. And we have a health. That's going to be helpful for Grigory. This is a massive pull. That's what happens when you bag build. So right off the hop, I've gone ahead and taken the positive effect for the health. We jumped up to 16. I'll just go ahead and move these chips out of this area so you can see what we got here. We've got quite a few. So we have to decide how to use all these. Well, it seems like the perfect time to go ahead and use this one here, which is Feint. So we're paying a sword and a shield, and we've also paid the AP. It says to add a -1 defensive modifier to an enemy. The slot 1 soldier we're focusing on has a -1 defense, which leaves him open to some wonderful attacks I want to do with Grigory. So we'll go ahead and use a double sword here to pay for the critical strike. We're also going to be using 2 AP to pull this off, which is a-okay with me. The attack allows me to attack one enemy with a +2, so I'm at 4. That makes it a 6. And the defense of this enemy I'm hitting is now subtracted by 1 is just 1. So 5 damage going through. So the soldier is now down to just 1 health remaining, which is awesome. Hanging on by a thread. And at this point, we need to activate the chain here for the critical strike. It says to draw 2 chips from the bag. So we'll go ahead and draw them up. This is going to be exactly 2 chips in this case. This does not follow the normal draw 2 black chips rule. You'll see this on future printings as well. The iconography around that has changed. So this right here is a green chip. So this does count as one of the 2. And this one right here, another green chip, counts as one of the 2. And I don't believe there's anything left in the bag. Now, unfortunately, I am not able to activate this take cover because I don't have the AP necessary, but this is what I'm going to look to actually activate in the future because it will allow me, if I chain it correctly, to gain an AP. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. But for now, what we can do is use the Volk Blade up here. So we'll go ahead and use that Volk Blade. It's going to be a little bit of overkill because it's going to be coming in at 4 damage, minus 1 on the defense from the chip here. That's 3 damage going through. That's more than enough to take out the slot 1 soldier, but that's good because it's going into the enemy turn next, and now there's only 2 of them left. So 1 soldier's been taken down by Grigory. We also refreshed the AP for both of the guards, Alec and Grigory. So we'll start things off by activating slot number 2, which is going to be the soldier. Let's see what's being thrown at us here. The first one off the top here says, choose target all enemies. That's not good. If health is less than 7, it will do a last resort, and it's going to add 2 negative attack modifier chips to the target's bags. Now, in this case, that's not going to happen because neither of my 2 individual guards have less or equal to 7 health. So this is huge. This is a great one to get right now. Valen activates next, and I'm pretty certain we're not going to get lucky with his card. It was nice to see the other soldier not be able to use any of its AP, but I think Valen's going to probably make use of his. Let's go ahead with the first card. It says, choose target all enemies, hunger. So it's going to go ahead and use 1 AP, the boss, to remove 1 green from each target if possible. Now, there's only a green on Grigory right now, so that is going to be lost. And then for each one lost, then Valen's going to go ahead and heal up 3, but it's already at 20, so nothing will happen there. Bad news is we're drawing another card, so there's more to come. Let's see what the next one states. Valen's going to target all enemies, and if health is equal to or lower than 10, he's going to flip the table for no AP, discarding all the chips off the target's card. And if I'm understanding that correctly, that's going to be a serious problem if we try to bolster our defenses, and then he rips those defenses away to then have a massive heavy swing attack come at us. Thankfully, we don't have anybody lower than 10 right now, so we're good. So that flip the table will not happen, but the attack still does. It's going to be a heavy swing. He does have 2 AP, unfortunately, and it's going to be a huge attack. It's going to be 5. Thanks to him permanently increasing his attack last time, plus another 4. That's 9. So 9 attack coming from Valen against Alec and Grigory, both targets being affected by this. 9 damage minus the 1 off Alec is 8, so we're going from 15 down to 7. Grigory really wishes he had more AP to be able to pull off the take cover, which would have given him +2 defense, but was not able to do it in this last player's turn. So 9 damage coming this way to Grigory, but defended with 2 here, so 7 getting through, dropping him from 16 down to 9. That was easily the biggest attack I've experienced in the game to this point in the campaign. The enemies at this point have all refreshed their AP. We now move to the cleanup phase. Grigory has gone ahead and cleaned up, a couple cards flipping over as well, and we got our cross slash back. Alec's cleanup is all complete. We now move into the next round of play. We're going to start with Alec again. I seem to like the idea of bolstering Grigory prior to him actually activating. It seems like a decent mix. We're also going to have to focus on some health here, probably using some potions because Alec is getting into dangerous territory, as we've seen from the boss. Once you start getting to 10 or lower, and sometimes even less than that, you've got other cards in here that can really throw some nasty effects. So I want to keep the health of these individuals up to avoid those triggers. Now, I was tempted to go ahead and spend 1 HP for Alec to bring all these chips back inside the bag, but seeing as we don't have a ton of AP built up on Alec yet, of course, the boss would have stolen it anyway if we had some. We're going to probably want to focus on that, which we can do through the golden potion, but we only had 2 green in the bag, so I pulled those out as they were, and that's it. And that way we'll be able to replenish this bag going into the next turn without having to spend any HP. So we've got ourselves 2 chips here to use. We've got a bunch of potions here, and let's go ahead and use one of those potions at least. So Alec has gone ahead and used 2 of his potions for a total of 10 healing, which really starts to reverse the nasty attack that Valen put on him earlier. So we're in a little bit better of a shape now. We need to decide how to use his sword and shield. I'm going to go ahead and use a shield chip on the elixir here, so that matches a requirement. I spent 1 AP. I can add a sword and a shield to either Alec's bag or Grigory's bag. I'm going to place it inside of Grigory's bag. Now, an interesting thing to mention is when I placed those 2 chips into Grigory's bag, I heard another clink, and then I looked at the discarded black chips in Grigory's area, and he has a total of 6 there, and I know he's got 7 black chips, so there actually was another chip inside that bag. Didn't pull anything incorrectly, but I thought it was completely empty, but there is still 1 in there, so now there are 3 chips in Grigory's bag, so that should be a-okay for the next pull for him. He only has 2 AP now going forward, thanks to Valen taking away his green AP. All right, so what do we want to do next? Well, I'm eyeing Rima Blade, to be honest. This one here, I can place a sword on it. We're going to spend the 1 AP to activate it. It says if one other primary or secondary is active, we got a primary active here, we can attack an enemy for +2, and that's huge for Alec because he can't really get his attacks in unless something either decreases defense or he bolsters his attack. So his attack default is 2, it makes it a 4, and on an enemy like this soldier right here that has a defense of 2, at least 2 damage is getting through, so that's going to drop from 9 to 7. And although Grigory typically ends up being the last person to attack an enemy and gets the aggro token, in this case it does switch the second another guard goes ahead and attacks an enemy, so the aggro token coming over to Alec. Now we're not done yet. We still have the Speaking Stone down here, which will not only bolster Alec's defenses, which we certainly need, we're going to go ahead and also be able to do another attack here. So it's going to give a +1 onto my attack of 2, making it a 3, and that means we can chip away at this soldier one more time for 1 damage down to 6. Now I'm hoping with those little attacks that Alec was able to put on that will help Grigory be able to put the final attacks on to take it out, but I don't know if this is going to be possible. We're going to find out right now. We're shifting over to Grigory. So Grigory's activation begins. He only has 2 AP this time, so only 2 chips coming out of the bag, but we know that one of them is a black one and the other are green, so we know we're going to have everything pulled out. So at a certain point, as you're bag building and chips come out in your discard pile, you'll be able to have a knowledge as to what's coming out of the bag, so you know what strategy to employ. In this case, we know the bag's going to be depleted, but that's good because now it's going to be able to refill for free later on, so long as I'm not adding anything else to it. So we've got ourselves the 2 green, the black, nothing else in the bag, so we stop our draw there, even though we don't have 2 black chips. And now we need to spend some of these chips. So what do we want to do? Well, we want to put some big time attacks on this soldier and get rid of it. So let's start things off by using my cross slash. We'll go ahead and activate it. It's going to give a +1 bonus to my 4, which is making it a 5. -2 defense is 3 damage, so we're dropping from a 6 down to a 3. A nice attack. This also affects Valen, but defense is 3 against our total 5, so only 2 damage getting through. This is what we did prior. We're knocking it down to 18. Remember, it healed back up. It probably will heal right back up once again. This is just a little bit off camera, so I'm doing this just down here. So 18 is the health that Valen has right now. Let's go ahead and attack that soldier. We're going to use a sword here on the Volk Blade, which is 4 attack -2 defense is 2, dropping him to a 1. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to take the soldier out. This is kind of brutal. Even with Alec's help, it wasn't able to happen. So we've got 2 shield chips left. We got a lot of AP left. I might as well take cover because I got a funny feeling that stuff is coming my way. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It's going to give us a bonus of 2 defense on our 2, which is a nice 4. The final thing Grigory's going to do is he's going to heal up. I want to get myself above 10. I don't like being below, so we're going from 9 to 14, which is a nice little jump. Keep us safe from any wonderful attacks coming from the enemy that might have to do with health. That's good. We're now going to go ahead and we're going to refresh our AP. This is happening for Alec as well as Grigory. Slot number 2 is going to activate first to the enemies because we took out slot number 1 soldier. So let's find out what is happening. Off the top here, choose a target with the highest defense. That's going to be Grigory. It's going to attack the target with a direct assault +3. It's already got 3, so it's going to be 6. That's nasty. But I do have defenses of 4, so only 2 damage getting through, dropping me from 14 down to 12. So I weathered that one pretty good, but we're not done. Next up, it's going to choose all enemies, so Alec as well as Grigory, and it's going to do a poison bomb. And thanks to its AP boost, it actually has what it needs to make that happen, unfortunately. So we're going to be adding poison to the target's bags, 1 chip in each bag. Here are the poison chips, 1 of them going into each of the guard's bag. They are purple chips. They're going to cause the guard to lose 1 HP before the next chip is drawn. So basically when drawing up, if you get this chip, you are going to take 1 HP. Then it's going to go into your discard area if you're a guard, and it's going to go right back into your bag in the future. Now, if you are an enemy and you get poisoned, you're going to resolve it as a -1 HP hit, but then during the cleanup phase, it's going to go back to the supply. 1 poison chip for each of the guards in the bags as of right now. That's going to end off the turn for the soldier. We're moving on to the boss. All right, let's see what the boss is going to throw at us this time. First card off the top here, choose all enemies. Stoop to poison. Oh no. So another 2 AP is going to add 2 poison to target's bags. That, my friends, is pretty nasty on top of the poison bomb we just got from the soldier. More poison going into each of the guards' bags, 2 for each of them. That'll do it for all of the enemies' activations. We now refresh their AP for the soldier and for Valen. Here's a look at Alec as we go into the cleanup phase. He's been all cleaned up, and Gregory has also been cleaned up. We're now ready to move into the next round of battle. Now, I know that there's a whole bunch of poison inside of Alec's bag, so in order to ease the pain of that, I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 HP right now in order to bring all of these chips back inside of the bag, along with the poison that's already in there. We'll go ahead and give them a really good shuffle, mix them around really nicely, and we're going to be drawing up 2. We're going to start Alec off at the beginning of his turn here, see what we can pull off. The first chip out of the bag is going to be nice. That's a good one to get. Next one after that is a black chip shield. Happy with that. Next one out of the bag. No, we got a positive pull across the board. This round for Alex is going to be all about focusing on getting the AP back up. So we're going to go ahead and spend this chip right here, 1 AP, in order to gain a green AP here for Alec, which is great. This goes right into his active area. We have 2 shields left to use. So we might as well go ahead, I think, and maybe use this one here. For 1 AP, we'll put a shield here on the elixir. This will add a sword and a shield. I'm going to place them into Gregory's bag. Now, this is a really tough decision because I have 2 ways I can go here. I can either use this shield and the last AP here to activate Combine, and I can trigger an Empower effect, which I would love to give Gregory his AP back that he really likes to use when he gets all these chips. I think that's probably the best thing to do because it has good ripple effects going forward, so long as Valen doesn't take it away from us. But the other thing is, I could also trigger this really cool ability on Combine that says if 2 cards are active, which they are, you can flip a non-active card. So this one would actually flip to the opposite side, and just so you can see what it would be, because it actually is pretty cool. The Emerald Poison over here on the other side for 2 sword chips and 2 AP, which is actually kind of costly, but very good. You can put 2 poison chips on an enemy, and then you could also potentially use it for an Empower trigger that has enemies with poison losing 3 health. Like, it's a pretty good card, so it's very tough to decide between these 2. In this case, however, I'm going to choose to use it for the extra AP boost for Gregory because I really want to have my main individual that's doing the attacking have all the AP available that he needs. So this AP is going to go over to Gregory thanks to triggering this ability right here where an ally gains 1. Now, unfortunately, even though I had cleaned out the bags, remember the poison got put inside, that would have allowed me to freely refill the bags. But remember, there's poison not only in Alec's bag, but also in Gregory's bag, unfortunately. So if I want to get something else in there on top of what's already in there, I want to spend an HP to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and actually spend that HP hit in order to replenish the bag at this point, which is unfortunate because I was hoping that that would be a more smoother transition. We've got a lot of chips in here, so I'm going to give them a real good mix, and then we'll draw 3 out to our draw limit of 3 black chips. So the first one out of the bag, reaching in, is going to be a shield. The next one out of the bag is going to be a sword, and after that we got ourselves a double sword. Well, I don't think that there's any major surprise here as to what I'm going to probably do first. I'm going to go ahead and take the sword here, and we are going to slash up this soldier. So it's an attack of 4 minus a 2 defense is 2 damage, and just like that, we've taken out the second soldier. So Gregory is able to easily handle both of the soldiers. We're going to take all the red cubes out of here just to denote even more so that these individuals are gone. We only have Valen left. I'm going to actually take these dashboards out of the equation. We'll put Valen right in the middle. So things have been reorganized, and what I'm eyeing right now is defense. I think that's a good idea. Even though it's just 1 defense, it would be really helpful. So we're going to go ahead and use this one right here. So we're going to do that, spend an AP. This is going to give us an active defense +1 on that. And then it says to add a shield token to Gregory's bag, which I'll do. And with that token now in the bag, we'll go ahead and spend these 2 swords on this one right here, spending another AP. This will allow me to add a sword chip, and because it's chained, we get another sword chip, so 2 sword chips in this bag. And that's going to do it. So Gregory took out the second soldier, which is awesome, making things a little bit easier during the enemy turn. I would have loved to have done this preparation, which I could have pulled off if I hadn't have done the attack against the enemy, but I'd rather get that enemy out of there to slow how much damage we're taking. All right, here we go. Valen currently has 18 health. Let's see what Valen's doing to us. The first card off the top, choosing all enemies. If the health is equal to or lower than 10, wow, are we ever close to this? Gregory is at 11, so we are very, very lucky that that does not happen. Next up is a heavy swing. Not lucky in that regard. This is another nasty attack we've seen before, so +4 on the 5 is the 9 attack coming against Gregory and Alec. Gregory does have his +1 here on top of the 2, so that's 3, but still 6 getting through. That's going to drop us down to 5. Alec, on the other hand, is not looking so good. Doesn't have any extra bonuses for defense except for just the one here. So 8 damage going through, has 16 health, dropping him all the way down to 8. That is half his health gone in one axe swing. So at the end of the enemy's turn and the boss taking a swipe at both of us, Grigory is hanging on by a thread with 5 HP. No potions to help me with healing over here. Alec has 8 but has a health potion. So there's that. Now we're going to dig into the cleanup phase for both these characters. That's going to do it. We're now ready to enter into the next round of play. We're going to start with Alec again. We're going to start drawing in the bag based on the AP as per usual. We have a, ooh, there is the poison. So that's going to come out immediately and give us a negative health, which is not good. And that will eventually go back into the bag. Oh, there is the other poison, slowly beating us down a little bit. Again, those don't count towards the draw. There's the first one, black. Second one, another poison dropping us down. And we go to the last one here, which is a sword. That will be all. So we got 2 chips to use. Now, one thing that I mentioned on screen prior when I used it, remember with Alec, I had used 2 potions. Now, this one you can freely use because it's equipped in your item slot. This one is a satchel slot. So when I use this one usage would have cost me 2 AP to bring it into the item slot to use, which I did not do. So that's worth noting. It was on screen prior, but right now, if I want to bring this health potion into here, I can spend 2 AP to do it. I'm contemplating it, seeing as I'm getting quite low right now, and a little bit worried things could go south on me, although that's going to impact what I can do if I spend 2 AP to do this, but it might be worth it. So I'm going to go ahead actually and do it. So let's spend 2 AP. We'll bring this health potion into the item slot and then immediately go ahead and use it, bumping us up to 10. Final thing I'll do is to activate Crimson Tonic. We'll add 1 health chip to Grigory's bag. The final thing I'll do with Alec is go ahead and activate the Speaking Stone. The attack is going to do nothing because 1 + 2 against 3 defense means nothing getting through, but I do get the extra defense, which will bump me up to 2 overall, which is probably good, seeing as something nasty from Valen is probably coming. All right, we're over here with Grigory. Let's go ahead and draw 3 chips out of the bag, see what we get. We may get a lot more than 3. Let's see what we have here. Oh, poison coming out right away, hitting our health. That's not what I like to see. Grigory getting closer and closer to bad news situation. Oh no, we have a lot of chips in this bag, but the negative ones are coming out and they are starting to hurt. Next one in the bag is a sword. This one is green. Next one out is a shield, which is also green. Next one out is another shield. First black, so that's 1. Another green sword. And there's a second black chip. There's a poison. All the poison just coming out to just absolutely cripple poor Grigory. Let's keep on digging here. 1 more to go. Oh my gosh, there's some health. That's good. We'll go ahead and boost our health back up. We're going to continue on here. Another shield. Wow, this is quite the pull. This is pretty much the whole bag almost. There's only a couple chips left. Well, Grigory, you certainly have options, and the first one I'm going to go ahead and activate, I think, seeing as I've got more than I need here, is probably the critical strike. So we can go ahead and we won't be drawing up the 2 chips for the chain because it's the first one we're activating, but this is actually going to be useful for me. So we're going to go ahead, spend 2 AP, we'll use 2 chips like this. That's going to allow me to do an attack with a +2, so that's going to be a 6 - 3, so we're going to do 3 damage, dropping 18 down to 15. Not bad. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and use Take Cover because we want defense for poor Grigory, who's already hurting pretty bad. He already has the aggro token, by the way, so I've already left that with him. So we're going to go ahead and spend 2 shield chips, and we're going to spend 1 AP in order to take cover. So he gets the +2 defense, and now his defense is back to 4, which is great. He's going to gain an AP right away. So we got an additional AP, which is nice, but unfortunately this one here needs 2 AP to pull off, so we will not be able to use this one right now. We do have a lot of chips left though, which is unfortunate, but we can certainly use one on the blade over here, so we'll go ahead and do just that. So it's going to be 4 - 3. The 3 defense is really hard to get through, so that's going to chip him down to 14. So we're making progress, but it's hard. And we also have this one here, the cross slash. We might as well activate this one as well. So this is a +1, so that's 5 - 3 is another 2. So we got him down to 12, which I'm feeling pretty good about, but I'm not feeling good about the fact that he is this beat up. But he does have defense on, so that feels pretty good. That's going to do it, I think, for Grigory's turn. Now, the only other thing I have here up my sleeve is something called a smoke bomb. This could be very, very useful. It says both guards gain 2 green evasion chips. Now, as nice as that smoke bomb is, it still needs to be equipped into this slot as it shows on the back of the card. You still need to spend a 2 AP in order to do that. I don't have 2 AP at the moment, but this would basically put chips inside your bag that when drawn out would allow you to evade attacks, which is certainly something we should probably think about at this point. Maybe should have thought about a turn prior, but that is a part of the strategy as well. At this point, we're going to end off Grigory's turn. I've refreshed the AP for Alec and for Grigory. They've both gone, and we're going to go ahead and activate Valen. Let's see what he is doing to us. He is going to be going after the highest defensive character. That's going to be Grigory. He's going to attack with a heft axe, so he's going to use 1 here. Oh, this is a bad one. It's 3 plus the, 5, so 8 come against me. I have 4, and boom, that is going to be enough to take Grigory down to 0. Alec is the only one standing at this point, and so we're going to continue on through here. Throwing chair is what he's doing next. It's going to be adding -1 modifier red chips to the target bag. That's going to be Alec's bag in this case because he is the target at this point, so 2 of those going in. Alec has been all cleaned up. We're going to go ahead and spend 1 HP to bring all these chips back in the bag because we know what's currently in the bag right now is not good, and we have the bulk of what he has out of the bag, including poison chips, which is not good either. Actually, all of that is not good. This is not looking good for poor Alex. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and draw up 3 chips. I am not looking forward to pulling poison. Poison is really nasty. So first one here is a black chip. Second one out, we have another black chip. And the third one out, we have a purple chip, a good pull. And the next chip out of the bag is another purple. Unfortunately, it's not a good one. It's going to impact our health, dropping us down to 8. We'll continue digging around. Hopefully don't find too many of those. Oh my gosh, we are starting to find them. They are crippling our team here. Next one out of the bag is a black shield. It's not looking good for poor Alec. At this point, we're pretty much buying time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spend the 2 AP here to bring the smoke bomb into my active slot so I can then go ahead and use it and I can gain 2 evasive chips. Here are the 2 evasion chips in the positive status area. These are green evasion chips. They're going to be used to stop attacks coming towards Alex. So certainly buying some time there. Also worth mentioning that when you're inside of a narrative battle like this one is, you cannot retreat. So even though Grigory went down and he's my major attacker, whereas Alec is more supportive, and I don't think Alec can really pull this off unless things go really, really well for him, but I'd be very surprised. You cannot retreat. You have to play these all the way through. So we may see both of these guards going down. The last thing I'll do is use an AP here in order to activate the golden potion, gaining 1 AP. So I place that right there. Then I'm going to go ahead and use that AP plus the sword down here on the Rima blade, and it states if another P, which is primary, which is this one right here, or secondary is active, attack an enemy for +2. So my attack being 2 is now a 4, and on a defensive 3, I actually get some damage through. So we got it down to 11. The aggro chip now lives on Alec. That is going to be it for Alec's turn, and we're now going to head over to Valen here to see what Valen is throwing at us. It's probably going to be nasty. Let's see what we get. All enemies, it's going to be a poison. These are 2 more poison chips going into the bag. The poison chips have been placed in Alec's bag. We're refreshing the AP for the enemy, and we're going to clean up his area. Alec's cleanup is all done. We start a new round of battle, and the evasion chips, which were here at the positive area, have been removed as well. You'll notice that the stoop to poison just puts chips inside the bag. It's not an attack that does damage, so these evasion chips do not help me in that situation, unfortunately, and now we no longer have them. I've gone ahead and spent 1 HP in order to bring back all of my discarded chips back into the bag. I'll tell you right now, it's pretty scary. Most of the black chips that are in this bag equally have a negative effect chip of some type for each one. It's like almost like a 1-to-1 ratio at this point, or maybe a little bit more than that. So I'm a little bit terrified, but we're gonna go and continue on here. We're drawing 4 chips out of the bag. Let's see how this goes. Got ourselves a shield, that's a good start. Next one out is a sword, that's also not bad. And we got ourselves a poison here, so it's going to affect our health, dropping us down to 5. Next one out of the bag is another poison. Here they come. They're starting to come out now. Next chip out of the bag. This is a purple. Doesn't count towards the draw, but it's a great one to get. This one does. That's a shield, and we have 4 AP, so we got to look for another black. We got ourselves another poison. We're now down to 3. The poison just whittling us away. This is what Valen really likes to do. And there is our 4th black chip. We're going to start things off with a golden potion here. This is going to give us an AP boost. Next up, we're going to go ahead and spend an AP that we just gained in order to put a sword here and activate the Crimson Tonic. This will allow us to gain a health. We'll put that chip in our bag, of course, because Gregory is no longer a part of the equation. Now we'll go ahead and use another AP here and a shield in order to do this one here. So if 2 cards are active up here, we can flip the non-active card. We're going to turn this elixir into... And this is actually really, really cool. You'll notice here, this changes to Radiant Sunset, and this needs 2 shields. And unfortunately, I don't have those at the moment, but this is a really, really nice one. It allows me to flip up to 2 non-active potion cards over to their opposite side, which is really handy. In this situation, I can't do too much else. Now I can trigger this, which I will do to give myself a defense boost as well as an attack here of 3. But going up against the defense of 3, that does not get through whatsoever. So simply just a defensive bonus. Attacking with the sword again would not get through, doesn't do anything. It would get blocked by Valen. So at this point, we've done everything we can. I'm really just setting myself up to show you the opposite sides here and what we could do with them if we had more time. But I think Alec is in trouble here. AP for Alec has been refreshed. We're coming over here for Valen. This is his last AI card. Let's see what it is. It says, well, it's going to be automatically, the target is going to be Alec. It's going to be the Heft Axe. It's going to use 1 AP. It's going to be 3 plus the 5, which is 8. And if you minus away my defense, which is 2, that's 6 damage. That is well beyond what Alec can handle. That is going to completely take Alec out. So the boss Valen took down both of our guards, and there's lots to be learned from this battle, whether it's the strategy of how I played things or one character over the other in terms of what they're able to put on for damage. Gregory was much more easily able to get past the defenses of the boss, whereas Alex struggled to do so. So that might be an area you might want to focus on in terms of spending Lux to upgrade specific skills, or maybe bolster equipment that Alec actually has to make that better. So there's a number of things to learn there in terms of how we could come at this battle in the future. Now, you'll notice here on defeat, whether both guards go down or a single guard goes down, there's a few steps to go through. When you get to step 5, for instance here, when both go down as I did, you're going to either respawn your guards at the last save location, which you'll remember earlier in the video, we have saved our game, so that's where these individuals will restart, or if you don't have one, you go back to Fort Istra. Now, these steps are going to get you back up and running again, but there are negatives to, of course, being defeated in battle. Things like your sill being depleted. Things in your satchel slots are going to be taken away unless they're a tool, like a fishing rod, for instance. But other things like resources like rough leather, for instance, that's going to be let go. So if you're going into a narrative battle that you know you can't retreat out of, and you're moving towards that kind of a point on your map during your campaign, you might want to think twice about bringing resources and things like that into the battle, because if it goes south, you're going to lose them. It might be better to leave them back at the fort. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up my showcase for the Isofarian Guard from Sky Kingdom Games. This is a great solo playable campaign experience that is really going to suck you in for a large amount of time. Really excited about all the things I'm seeing on the campaign page in terms of the upgrades and changes that are going to be coming along with the update pack. I really think that's going to be a massive benefit to the game as well. If you already have the game in hand, there's nothing stopping you from enjoying it right now. The game is great as is and already has some tweaks implemented that you can use in order to streamline your experience. But if you want to wait for the update pack, that's also an option as well. I'll put the link in the pinned comment and video description, as I always do, to the crowdfunding campaigns. You can check it out if you want to find more information. But long story short, I really just hope this helps you make that informed decision as to whether you should jump into this for the very first time, or if you're somebody who already has it like I do, whether you're interested in picking up the update pack in order to enhance the experience overall. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.